Hey, it's me, the mouth of the South, Jimmy Hart. Hey, check out my new tag team, baby, Monte and the Pharaoh.
Hey, Jimmy, don't forget to tell them about Long Island's #1 pro wrestling broadcast.
Well, you know what, I would, but you already did it.
It's Monte and the Pharaoh.
With Monte and Pharaoh.
The Monte and Pharaoh Show.
Monte and Pharaoh, bro.
Monte and the Pharaoh.
Monte and the Pharaoh.
The Monte and the Pharaoh.
The Monte and Pharaoh Show.
And you're watching the Monte and Pharaoh Show.
Monte and the Pharaoh.
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 Monte and Pharaoh.
Monte and the Pharaoh.
And Monte and the Pharaoh. Oh, is it Monte and the Pharaoh?
Monte and Pharaoh.
The Monte and the Pharaoh Show.
The Monte and the Pharaoh.
To the Monte and the Pharaoh Show. And it's Monte and the Pharaoh, baby.
Monte and the Pharaoh.
With Monte and the Pharaoh.
Monte and the Pharaoh. Oh, what a run. Monte and the Pharaoh.
Monte and the Pharaoh.
Hey, cut the fucking music. When you want the best in professional wrestling, Long Island, there's only one place you're going to get it, right here.
Monte and the Pharaoh. Now, that's not just the coolest, and that's not just the best. That, my friends, is just incredible.
You've got the future Hall of Famer, that rocker, Marty Jannetty, MJ in the house, and I'm sitting here with two more future Hall of Famers, Monte and the Pharaoh. We're doing that stuff and we're gonna rock it.
Monte and the Pharaoh. Duh.
All right, welcome to Long Island's #1 pro wrestling broadcast, Monte and the Pharaoh, seen only here out of Indie Music TV in Ronkonkoma, New York, on a special Saturday edition. At the board is Matt, Wakey. How are you, buddy?
Great as always.
You I want to get right to this, right? We've got two legends in the studio, and I'm not talking about the two people in our studio audience, but thank you guys for coming. We really appreciate that. So let's get to it right away because these guys have had a long day. So I'm going to turn this over to the star of the show, Mr. Jimmy Pharaoh. Jimmy will give you guys something called the juice for any fans that don't know who our special guests are, but go have it, Jimmy.
I'm going to make this short and sweet, ladies and gentlemen. The multiple-time WWF Tag Team Champions, and in my opinion, the greatest WWF Tag Team Champions, including /WWE Tag Team Champions in the history of this business, Axe and Smash, Demolition.
Yeah, baby. Yeah, thank you, guys. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hey, Jimmy, I guess we gotta like you, don't we? You like us. We love it.
I'm trying.
Thank you.
I'm trying. So far, so good.
We appreciate it.
Thank
and
you,
then all
guys.
the fans, too, in the audience. There's a
Thank
bunch
you.
of those. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
So before the show started, Axe was talking about
Oh, God.
Marty Jannetty,
We're
asked us some
jumping.
questions. So we have a lot of wrestlers come through here, and they do a little promo for us, about the show. And so you have some questions about Marty Jannetty you'd like to ask Monte and the Pharaoh about?
Oh,
let's
boy.
talk about it a little bit.
I wanted to, what's the heck's the latest story on him? I saw where I live in Georgia, and Marty's from Georgia, in Columbus. And
Right.
evidently confessed to some major crime, is that right?
Well, there's a couple things to peel back, right? So first, one of the big Marty things was that he wanted to have sex with his daughter.
Oh, God.
You heard that one, right?
No.
Oh, okay. So I'll tell you about that.
That's a major crime, too.
Yes, it sure is.
Where does all this come out? How did that come?
Marty
We
likes,
love Marty.
Marty
He's a
likes
great
to put
guy,
stuff
but-
on Facebook and then go, oops.
Oh, jeez.
So it's kind of like...
So he posted. No, wait. To his defense, on the last show, he said someone hacked his Facebook. So
Yes, on that
in his defense.
on that
but
topic, yes.
someone hacked his Facebook and it said, "Hey guys, have you ever had a daughter that you wanted to have sex with?"
Oh, yeah.
And he posts a picture of her, and then a couple of people must have reached out and said, "Are you high today?" And Marty's like, "I don't know what's going on." So,
Yeah, right,
but the most
right.
recent thing,
Gee, my niece.
the most recent thing with Marty
Aren't you glad you asked?
is Marty claims that he worked in a bowling alley at 13 years old.
Okay.
He went to buy some dirt weed, but him and his friends,
Mm-hmm.
and again, look, I'm not trying to be offensive, so I'm not, not using the proper language, but his friends needed money, so they would allow this gentleman who ran the bowling alley to give them oral sex for like money, so they could have extra money to spend. And Marty claimed the money was so good you could buy a car in a couple of weeks.
$50 for a session, but who can say they remember
Right.
the exact amount?
So according to Marty, he went to buy some weed, and this gentleman decided he wanted to take advantage of Marty, and Marty didn't want any part of it. Because
Advantage meaning he didn't want to pay him the 50.
he did it. He wanted to do something to Marty, but Marty did not want that to happen.
Yeah, that oral thing.
So instead of just leaving the situation, Marty decided to take a brick and hit the guy over the head and killed him. So he put that on Facebook. So I guess the police kind of said, this is interesting. Let's look into it.
They looked into it.
Is that true?
This is a true story.
That
It was on TMZ and everything.
Well, we
No, but
just
I mean,
told you.
so did he really do that?
Okay, well, let's get to the rest.
So Marty was here a couple of weeks ago, and Marty said that, hey, and by the way, this is the first time he spoke about it on anyone's show, but Hannibal, who you guys probably know, got credit for it because he talked to Hannibal about it 48 hours later.
Later.
That's my problem with
Yeah,
that.
mine too.
But
Go
anyway,
on. Hi, Hannibal.
Marty
Anyway.
claims that this really didn't happen. It was a work for a wrestling story. What wrestling story, I don't know.
Oh, my God.
But then he went on to say on the show, but, say it was a wrestling story. Do you know that when you burn a body, bones don't burn? So I didn't know whether he was saying it was make-believe or it was real. But he pretty much confessed on the show that he murdered this guy.
Wow.
Now, you guys worked with Marty for a long time.
I've heard some dumb stories.
Yeah, right?
By some very, very dumb people. But that tops the list. I'm not saying he's dumb,
Not
but
quite.
that tops the list.
But let me ask you this. Has Marty always been like this?
Marty's a really good guy from what, how I know. And I haven't seen him for a long
Well,
time.
Marty's had a lot of demons in his past.
But
so-
he's just been he's a nice guy. I've never had any bad things to say
But
about
I mean,
Marty.
did he have, it's obviously, Marty's been on the show a few times, and he's really a great person. He's a really good human being.
Cool.
But Marty, our first event with Marty, when you asked how long we've been doing this, we brought Marty in, and he was so stoned out of his mind, we couldn't even do a show.
No, don't put pot down like that. He was coked out of his mind. There's a difference.
Okay.
He wasn't stoned.
So anyway, he couldn't.
He would have
like you're
behaved himself
interviewing.
if
It
he
was
was
not.
stoned.
It was like it was a very incoherent interview.
Yeah, he was.
Wow.
And he came back the second. And so, look, to be honest with you, we took some liberties. I was pretty pissed off about it, right?
Well,
So
we
I
paid him
kinda-
for a service, and he screwed us. So we basically spent the next.
We were
6
having
months,
like a radio show and then a signing, right? So
Yeah.
I kind of had it, and then he punched me in the face. And then we made up.
Yeah, that was great. Yeah.
So
Yeah, we made up like.
and then we had him back, and then he told this story, and that's where we're at.
He punched you in the face, and then you had him back.
Yeah. Why
Yeah.
not?
Gosh.
Yeah, we're
I can
different.
handle it.
Yeah, he was fine.
You didn't punch him back.
He was
did
like,
you?
"Really? Is that it?"
No.
All right.
I had too much respect for the guy. Seriously, I did. I have too much respect for the
Kind
guy.
of does. How's that for a mark? Mark.
That's some bullshit right there.
Yeah.
That's
Really? Is that a
crazy
mark?
stuff,
Is that
man.
being a mark because you don't punch someone back in the face
No,
as they
no,
hit you?
no.
Out
It's
of
just-
love for
it's
them being a
just,
great wrestler after they clocked you? Yeah, you're being a little marky.
being in Georgia, it was all over the news.
Now
Yeah,
you're
but-
his neighbor. How come you haven't stopped by and been like, Mark?
No, he's about 110 miles away
Okay.
from me,
Okay.
and I only travel about 80 miles.
Axe punched me in the nose, and I punched him back, and then he punched me back, and I punched him back.
Which is one of the greatest moments in wrestling history, by the way. Now that you mention it,
And then we
it's-
both looked for
My
the
jaw
giant.
still hurts from that.
We both looked for the giant to come in.
Yeah, we were begging for the giant to come in.
Stop the abuse, Trey. Where's Andre?
I want to talk about one sad part. Recently, we lost Road Warrior Animal.
Oh my goodness.
Unbelievable.
Can you guys maybe talk about it?
Yeah, such a shock. I mean, over the years, we've lost so many of our good friends, and we've lost a lot of the wrestlers that weren't really close to us, and it's sad. But we were talking over the weekend because it's the first time Barry and I had seen each other for probably a month or so, right?
Yep. Couple.
And it was right. It was not a left field. It was completely out of the stadium.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll be honest. I mean, I've thought of him quite often the last days, and it seems like everybody that contacts me, emails me, or texts me, they want my opinion on it, and I just say, hey, I have no opinion. I don't have any words for it. I texted his wife and conversed with her, and I said, there's nothing I can say that is going to help you through this grieving process, other than the fact that you have to know that there's millions of fans that loved him, and there's lots of the guys that loved him, and he's one of the very few that, Nikolai Volkov and a few guys that have died that have, Barry and I've talked about, we just couldn't understand. Guys you think that are going to die for one reason or another. Right. And Barry knew Joe a lot longer than I did, but I mean, we were traveling up and down the road to all these conventions and stuff, good friends, and just sad, man, it's just sad.
Yeah, it's, and I broke in the business with him and Hawk, and, it just, I got the text the morning after. Joe Rogers texted me, and he said, yeah, is it true that Animal died? And, it was probably about 6 in the morning, and I thought to myself, well, the only animal I know that would have died was George the Animal Steele. George the Animal Steele died. Yeah. And he said, no, Road Warrior Animal. I thought, you got to be kidding me. Right. I was just with him not too long ago. We did a TV show together, and he looked fantastic. So that was just like, oh my gosh, any of us could die at any time. Terrible. Yeah. What a great guy. Nice guy.
We met him. He was in studio not too long ago.
Yeah,
really fantastic gentleman. Really unbelievable.
He was awesome.
I will say this, right? We have a lot of stars like yourselves, and you guys are icons in the business. That is a fact. But the way you treat people, you guys are pretty incredible. I'm always waiting for someone to be like very arrogant or very like, who am I?
Scott Hall.
But
I'm sorry.
If it wasn't for people like you, the fans in particular,
good fans.
We were just fortunate and happy to be in the wrestling business and be able to make a living out of it and provide for our families. I mean, there's thousands of guys. It's a small fraternity.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And to have some success is even smaller fraternity. So we appreciate, fans when we meet them and guys like you that help promote us.
Yeah, and what was tough about Joe, too, was, being in Minnesota, Kurt Hennig, best friends with, Rick Rude, Brady Boone, Hawk. It's just like, it's too close,
Why do you... Maybe because, like you said, your fraternity, it's a smaller environment, but why are the drugs, you believe, are so rampant? I mean, Bill, you stayed away from what I've watched. You stayed out of that scene, and so did you, Barry, right? How do you stay out of that?
Yeah, how?
Well,
we traveled together, and
we always looked at it as if it was a job. Why are you going to be on the road and get screwed up and spend your money when you're away from your family? And we loved our family. We still love our families. We're providing for our families. And I don't want to spend money on drugs and booze and everything else when I can go home and sit down in our homes and say, hey, this is what I'm working for. My daughters, my wife, same for him, his wife, his son. It was a job. A lot of guys got into it, and there's a carnival circus aspect to it.
Sure.
And they think that it's going to last forever. It doesn't last forever in football. It doesn't last forever in basketball. Baseball's a little bit longer.
Yeah, but you're human beings too, right? The temptation's got to be strong. I mean, the women, the drugs.
What saved me was, I'm younger than what Bill was, and when I got into the WWF, I was one of the youngest guys in the territory. So, all my friends, I hung around with, we drank beer, everything. But when I got together with Bill, it was like, he wasn't into that scene. And when you're up there and you're wrestling 300 days a year,
350.
350. I mean, it was
Okay.
brutal.
There you go.
But he was a great influence for me, and plus I needed to learn the business a lot more than what I did. So being with him and Mr. Fuji and different people, Tito Santana and all these guys.
But you started, who's going to be a next, with Nikita Koloff and Ivan, right? That's pretty much where your career started.
Well, it started way before that.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, in fact, Nikolai Volkov was my first partner down in Mid-South. But I was in singles way before that, and then I was in Florida Championship Wrestling with Jim Neidhart.
Yeah.
So I could have very easily went down the wrong path.
Okay.
But, then when I married my wife, we had my son, there was no way I wanted to do drugs anymore. I wanted to, I wanted to live.
Did you catch any peer pressure as you were realizing that Bill's way was the right way? This is the way I'm going. Are you getting any peer pressure? Like, come on, party.
Not one person ever said, "Hey, come on, do it."
Okay.
We didn't do it.
Didn't do it.
And I don't know whether it was respect or
not even Andre. Have a
Well,
drink. How do you tell Andre? No, I'm not having.
To be honest, Bill.
Well, no, we would drink.
Okay.
But actually, we wouldn't get out of hand drinking either.
No. It was a job.
Right.
We slept good. We stayed in good hotels all the time. Our product was us.
Right.
So you got to take care of your product. You don't have a good product, you can't sell it. You can't make money. We slept good, always stayed in the Marriotts or top shelf hotels. We ate good, had good meals. We traveled good in the vehicles. We always had the Lincolns or Cadillacs. You got to be comfortable. And we worked out. Our product is us.
Yeah.
I can't go out and drink all night, not sleep, don't train, smoke, all this stuff.
Right.
Pretty soon it's going to wear you down, which it did, these guys.
Right. With Road Warrior passing recently, Adam, would we have had a Demolition if not for the Road Warriors? Were you guys created to combat the Road Warriors? I'd like to hear it for sure. I always hear these stories that Vince put Demolition together as to offset the Road Warriors.
We really don't know about that, but I think he probably in his mind.
Okay.
But we often say we didn't try to copy them.
Not at all.
I mean, there was Barbarian and Ward. There was painted people before.
You were nothing like them in my mind.
You had all the paint for years and years when I first started years ago. So there's similarities. There's a lot of differences.
Mm-hmm. We worked a lot different than they did.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But I never even heard of that.
Well,
this is
the BS we get to hear with fans, when they always say Road Warriors, Demolition was just a Road Warrior. We hear this crap. To me, it's crap.
That
whatever.
appeared after.
Yeah, what's funny is that the whole time wrestling, all the years I wrestled, I never even heard of that or even thought about it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I talked to Mike and Joe all the time, and they never thought about it either.
Well, who would say it to you guys? By the way!
But then way after, somebody put it on the internet. Mm-hmm. They're copycats of it, and then pretty soon that catches on.
Yeah.
And every idiot fan, starts saying stuff like that, and we just say, yeah, that's what you think.
Well, look,
think.
you're just in Queens, right? The line was around the block. So
yeah.
You guys built your own niche.
Please.
I will tell you, as fans, right? Older fans, we grew up. We were WWE guys. Right?
Yeah, we were.
You're originally from the South, and you started in the Mid-South and the Florida chain or whatever. But so there was that war. So when you guys came in, it was like, not that we thought you were a ripoff of them. It was like, here's our team.
Yeah.
This is our team.
That's right.
This is not our Road Warriors. This is our team.
That's right.
And then vice versa, when they finally did come in, a lot of people said that they were trying to copy us.
Mm-hmm.
But it really doesn't matter, because I tell Barry, we talk about, there's fans of Demolition, there's fans of Legion of Doom, Road Warriors, and there's a lot of people who don't give a damn about either team.
That's true too. Oh, you're allowed to like both? I love them, but I like the Road Warriors. Am I allowed? Is that okay?
Yes, because we like them.
Yeah, you wonder, though, the debates that come around with the wrestling geeks.
Bill, I want to go back a little bit, right? You came to the WWF as Mass Superstar at some point, and you started a feud with Bob Backlund.
Right.
Backlund, as we know, lost the belt to the Iron Sheik, but from what we read, was that at any point you were supposed to be the transitional champion?
It was in the conversation, but my understanding was that for some reason, Backlund didn't want to lose to a guy that had no amateur background for one reason or the other. So that's how it transpired. So
how'd that make you feel when you heard that?
I don't give a damn. I was making money anyway.
As long as I'm making money, right?
Yeah.
I don't know if I agree with that, Bob. Jeez. Anyway. Bill, you were there from the transition between Vince Sr. and Jr. Can you share with us the differences between father and son? How are they as people? What's their differences?
Well, they were both businessmen. Junior's a little more forceful.
Forceful. Okay.
Senior had developed a lot of relationships with other promoters and had friendships with those promoters. And he was considered to be, by the wrestlers, a man of his word. You knew when you were coming in day one. You knew what you were going to make. You knew when you were leaving, day whatever it is, X. And generally you were going to come back in on day whatever.
And it was nice back then because all the different territories.
Yeah, and you would go out. Okay. And there was no animosity between Senior and the Crockett's, Senior and Bill Watts, Senior and Eddie Graham, Senior and whoever. And that changed when Junior took over. He became a little more aggressive in his relationships, but he was successful. You know, he did it one way, his dad did it the other way. His dad was successful at that time. So I don't take anything personal. It's business. You got a shelf life, whether it's whatever product it is. That product's going to have to change. Sometimes he tinkers with things a little too quickly. Could have held and extended the shelf life a little bit, not only for us, but a lot of the talent.
But you said you can hold Senior to his word. Could you say the same thing about Junior?
Well, we probably had some differences of opinions, right?
Yeah, but
did he make you promises and then break them, or?
I don't think so.
It maybe stretched them a little bit. Not, it wouldn't break them.
Define stretched.
Well, there were situations that I was approached with towards the latter part of my career that the level was here, and then as it got closer, it got closer, it got closer, it got closer. It wasn't acceptable, so I just decided not to take the decision.
When I was the repo man, it was going to be where I was going to become a babyface because I wanted to end my career at that time, and I wanted to just do autograph deals, go to hospitals, and do all that stuff. So as I was, that's when I was doing that, he said, we're going to end up ending you up as a babyface. Well, it was time for me to turn babyface, and I went to him, I said, Vince, when are you going to turn babyface? He says, you're never going to be a babyface, it's not going to happen. That's when I put my notice in. Okay. So that was one of those situations where, but, it changes. Maybe he's looking at something different than that I was, or, business is business.
Yeah.
So
I think when guys realize that it's not personal.
Yeah, it's a business.
You're a product. And you have to accept it.
How easy is it for you guys when you have something super successful like a Demolition, and it was a really macho gimmick? You guys were beating the tar out. You're real ass kickers, How difficult is it to have your gimmick changed? To have another gimmick? Where does the ego come in? Do you stop and go, I don't want to be that. I was just busy being Axe and Smash. I don't want to do this. Right? Yeah. How easy is it for you guys to adjust when your gimmick has changed, your character has changed?
In my situation, I was ready to go home anyway.
Right. Okay.
We had a couple opportunities to go elsewhere. Mm-hmm. And we had approached them, suggested to giving us our notice, and given them our notice. And then it picked up again. Mm-hmm. And
was it easy to go from the Masked Superstar to Demolition? I think that would be.
Yeah.
Okay.
They had no reference point. Nobody knew my face.
Right. But how about for you though? Changing to other characters after.
I wrestled, and then I was Barry Darsow when I took the paint off.
Right.
So to me, it's a business, and you're making money, and if you got a chance to make money, you're darn right you're going to change your gimmick, especially when you got a family to feed.
So it was a no-brainer for you guys.
No-brainer for me, and I looked at it like I wanted to be the best at everything I've done.
Okay.
and I thought I did the best I could for every gimmick, and that to me was more, I was more successful in my mind being that.
Yeah.
When I was the Blacktop Bully, and of course your Darso and Hole in One Darso, and all all these different characters.
And after I left there, I was in literally I could pick up the phone and call Inoki and the office, and if I left on Friday, I could be booked the next Monday in Japan, and that happened.
Right.
So that was over years of building rapport with them, and I just decided I wasn't comfortable there. And sometimes you have to say no. And there's a story in the wrestling business. You get the point. Everybody has a point where I don't feel comfortable doing that, and I'm going to say no.
Right.
And you're making good living, and you say no, and you say okay, and then the promoter, vendor, whoever it is, says okay, I accept that, and you get up and you part your ways, and as you're walking towards the door, you say, I hope he says come on back. 9 times out of 10, they go, oh, come on back, we can work something out. But if he doesn't, you have to go out the door and start new.
See, and I always knew, and I know you knew, that there's life after wrestling.
Yeah.
I mean, I knew I can get another job making good money or do whatever I had to do. So to me, I mean, it was the greatest time of my life, everything, but it wasn't something that when you were done with it, it was going to kill you. You know what I mean?
And who would have thunk it? I mean, all these years after we left, we're still doing appearances and signings, and thanks to the fans. There again, if it wasn't for the fans wanting to see us, nobody would use us.
Love the fans. It was kind of bad when we were bad guys. We couldn't talk to the fans or anything.
Yeah.
You were living the gimmick, huh?
Yeah.
Don't talk to me. That's
and
awesome.
we really wanted to, but you couldn't.
Well, you were instructed not to at that point.
Right. How'd you feel when kayfabe took a hit?
Oh, to me,
Pissed you guys off or what?
See, that was brutal because you were already up there, but when I came from, Crockett's territory, the babyface came out of one dressing room, the heels in another, and you couldn't talk at all. You'd have to stop at rest areas and yell through the window kind of what you were going to do. I mean, that's how serious it was. Right. And then I left, and the first day I come up, and all the guys are in a tent in the middle of the deal for TV, and you all walk out the same door. It was like
singing campfire songs.
Remember the Sheik and Duggan, right? That blew up in everybody.
Sheik and Duggan,
right? That's for sure.
That's right.
And they were working a program.
That's right.
Well, they lost their careers over it.
He wasn't mad about the coke. He was mad that they were in the same car together.
Yeah.
All right, with that, we're going to take a quick commercial break, and we'll be back with probably the greatest tag team in the history of professional wrestling.
Back with the greatest. Be right back.
You need a body shop? You need engine repair? Auto Excellence, Collision Specialists, 631-261-6420. That's 631-261-6420. Auto Excellence.
That's right, folks. Canine Corral for all your dog daycare and overnight care. Call 631-549-1544. That's 631-549-1544. And APB, American Protection Bureau, voted #1 best on Long Island for all your security needs. Call 631-390-9050. That's 631-390-9050. APB. Go.
All All right, welcome back to Long Island's #1 pro wrestling broadcast, Monte The Pharaoh, seen here every Thursday, produced at Indie Music TV in Ronkonkoma, New York. But this is a special Saturday edition.
Special.
Just a reminder to fans, Monte The Pharaoh can be seen on the YouTube Monte The Pharaoh page, Facebook Live Monte The Pharaoh page, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Anchor, Twitch TV, the Monte The Pharaoh page. All Access Sports Network every Thursday from 8 to 9 p.m.
You read well.
And Tuesday from 8 to 9 p.m. the recap. On Channel 115 cable television every Tuesday from 7 to 7:30, where you'll get the abbreviated version
Condensed.
of an interview with the great team Demolition. And
Abridged.
for early risers on Saturday on Channel 115 from 6 a.m. to 6:30, and on Friday mornings at 2 a.m. on Channel 20.
Pharaoh time, 2 a.m.
Well, here we are with our special guest.
The greatest tag team in the history of the WWF.
I'm not going to say it, but I'm trying to allow the fans to say, hey.
They're the greatest. Right,
Okay.
guys? Right. Okay, next.
Barry,
Yes.
you started with the Crockett's, like you with the Crockett's,
Yeah.
right, as a Russian. Why, you in Minneapolis, why didn't you wrestle for Vern?
You know, I never ever even asked Vern to get into his territory, because when I first started out, it's kind of a funny story. I broke in with Eddie Sharkey, and it was the Road Warriors and Rick Rude and myself were at the camp, and Ole Anderson used to come down to the camp. He was good friends with Eddie, and the first one to go out was Joe of the Road Warriors, and he went down to Atlanta and wrestled down there, and Johnny Weaver put the sleeper on him and beat him. And he came back and said the worst thing ever happened. I got beat by Johnny Weaver, and all this. So anyways, to make a long story short, Hawk ended up being the next guy going out, and then that's when they became the Road Warriors.
Okay.
So I started making some calls around because Ole said it's going to be a little while to come in. So I called up in Canada to Stu Hart. And when I called Stu Hart up, he says, Barry, yeah, Eddie, we've talked to Eddie, everything's good. And Eddie did talk to Stu Hart. Well, it ended up being, he says, there's a big tournament going on in Honolulu, Hawaii. He says, you fly out there. He says, go to this address, Mrs. Maivia's there, and we'll meet you there. And you'll have a hotel, we'll have all this all arranged for you. We'll reimburse your ticket because it's last minute, all this stuff. So I thought to myself, I'm going to Hawaii. So I go to Hawaii, I'm in Honolulu, I go to this address, and there's nothing there.
You see.
Yeah. But I wanted to go to Hawaii anyways.
Yeah, okay.
No Morocco? No surfboard? No Morocco?
It ended up being Bret Hart's brother who ribbed me.
Oh, my God.
Man, that's not even
funny. And
funny.
he sounded just like Stu Hart because I talked to Stu before that.
Not funny.
Is that too much?
That would have been a major hit.
So
that is the worst.
You would have killed the guy. What are you talking about? That's awful. Why are you laughing?
But you're young and you want to get in the business.
Yeah.
So you really can't,
You go to Hawaii.
So I thought, so the best place to go is the YMCA there to train. So I trained there, and then I met Mark Lewin. And Mark Lewin says, what are you doing here? And I says, well, I'm coming to the show. And he says, well, that show's canceled. One of those kind of deals. He says, but we got another show in a couple more weeks. And he says, I'll get you on the show. So it ended up being that was my break.
Okay.
Mark Lewin helped me out. We ended up going to Samoa, Tonga. We went to all the different islands. And then he gave me Dusty Rhodes' number. So then I came back, and then I called Dusty Rhodes, and then I ended up getting to Atlanta because now Ole needed me.
Okay.
And then I went to Mid-South, and then that's how it all worked out.
Did you ever properly thank that Hart for his little joke years later?
Oh, yeah, I did.
You did? Good. You want to tell us that too? Oh, no.
I guess Pharaoh's asking, did you give him a receipt?
Yeah, what on earth?
No, I didn't.
Did Bill give him a receipt for you?
I would have.
I would have. There you go. Oh, boy.
Let me ask you this. A lot of people wrestlers have been through here. Ole Anderson, they were not big fans from Tito Santana.
Yeah, 9 out of
down
10
the list.
people say
How
bad
was Ole
things,
towards you guys?
What do you guys got for us?
I got along great with Ole.
We'll be the 2 out of 10.
Okay.
Yeah.
Ole was gruff, still is.
Okay.
But the thing about Ole, if he saw that you could make money for the company and you would work hard, everything that he promised me, everything that he said I was going to get, I got.
Yeah.
Stan Hansen, the same. We never were promised anything that wasn't fulfilled.
He delivered.
Yeah.
He did.
Okay.
And
okay, bottom line.
he had a good
He was a
mind
boss.
good mind for the business. He had good mind for, and he was probably one of the guys that, of anybody in the territory, would sacrifice his career or name or position, would be him. He wouldn't put another top guy, you know, if you're working with this guy and he's going to be horrible, he would substitute and he'd work with that guy.
So
He
he's
had-
a team player.
He had enough confidence in his ability.
Very interesting. He sounds like
But
a team
a lot
player.
of people
with
didn't
necessary-
like him
when he-
because
He was
he
gruff.
was gruff. I mean,
Okay.
he cussed a lot. And
Okay.
but another thing that Ole did, he told the truth. And a lot of guys,
That'll make you very
they'll
unpopular
ask,
very quickly.
If you're a baby face, you don't want to hear the truth.
well,
Yeah.
here's the situation. Throughout our career, thousands, not hundreds, not tens, thousands of guys have come, hey, would you watch my match? And after a number of years, I said, I'll watch your match on the basis that you want to hear what I have to say. Not, you did this good, you did that good, you did this good. If you want to hear the true story, I'll watch your match and tell you.
Fair.
If you just want me to tell you how good you are, you don't need me.
Right.
And that's what Ole was. You know, when we'd leave the ring and go back through the curtain, we knew if we had a good match, we knew if we had a so-so match, and we knew if we had a stinker match. We don't have to have somebody else say, oh, that was great, that was terrific.
Right. Right. Bill, you were, honestly, Mike, as we've spoken in the past, we could probably do a whole show just on Masked Superstar. So you were a huge single star. How did you feel when they came to you about doing Demolition?
Well, I knew it was going to be a good gimmick. And I wanted to try it. I also knew in the back pocket that if it didn't work, I can go to the phone and go back to Japan.
And you could always be Masked Superstar.
And I could always be Masked Superstar down south. My relationship with Ole was, I said, go ahead, do whatever you want, and you always got a home here, which is nice, because you made money in Atlanta. I bought my home in Atlanta. I still live there, and you could make a heck of a good living and never leave Atlanta. Maybe venture over to Watts for a little bit. Maybe go up to Charlotte for a little bit. Japan. Ole would, if I had a standing contract, 12 to 14 weeks in Japan. I'd call, they'd send me the contract, pick the months you want to go, January, 2 weeks, blah, blah, blah.
Did you ever think, like, when you were playing acts, like, hey, I could also be Masked Superstar and I could get double the pay, so Vince, can I be Masked Superstar too?
No. Even when we do appearances, we have a lot of vendors that ask, and the same thing with Barry.
Guys got to switch around.
Would you do Axe and Superstar? Would you do Repo Man and Smash? No. I don't want to insult the fans. They know who we are.
Right.
But I'm not going to. It looks like you're grabbing money.
How about Masked Superstar versus Axe? Did you ever try to do
Well,
that?
that son of a gun owes me money.
So we're gonna get you guys out of here soon. I want to ask you guys on a
already.
Well, it's not that soon, but within the next 10 to 15.
Okay, fine. Be that way. Go on.
State of the country right now. How are you guys handling COVID, and what are you thinking about this presidential race going on?
Well, we're both Trump fans.
Oh, hey, how you doing?
Big time Trump
What's
fan.
going on?
We both. I voted early. My wife.
I
By
voted
mail?
early, too.
You did the mail thing? Do you think it's reliable, this mail thing? How are they going to prove it's reliable?
I hope. But the only thing that we were talking today, and it's funny, I'm looking forward to it being over because I'm saturated with the ads, not only for the presidential and the Senate and the local things in every area, whether all the politicians in every state. I'm ready for it to be over.
Sure.
It's kind of like what Bill was saying earlier. He says they're both campaigning.
Yeah.
So they're both kind of stretching the truth a little bit here and there.
You think?
But watching the debate the other day, I think Biden lied. I just, because I heard him come out and say that we're going to stop fracking. There is not going to be fracking anymore. He said it, I don't know how many times. And Kamala Harris said the same thing.
Kamala.
Kamala Harris.
Kamala?
No, I'll go with Kamala, but go ahead.
No, I'm just saying.
Is it Kamala or Kamala? I don't want to.
I call
Which is it?
Miss Harris.
Miss Harris, yeah. And I mean, that was a blatant lie, but then he says, well, pull up the tapes. Well, the people that are watching that aren't going to be pulling up the tapes on Trump's site. Because Trump people already know that he lied when he said that. And that's what they do for so many different things, and it just pisses you off.
Here's my viewpoint.
Somebody should be checking them right there. That's a lie. That's a lie. You know, that fast.
You mean like a buzzer go off anytime somebody? That'd be hilarious.
And then the
just hit them with a daggone X on their forehead.
And then the girl who's asking the questions, they should have had a button to beep her. She beeped in so many times, cutting Trump off.
What if
I
they
think,
threw food at them every
to
time?
her defense, I will say I think she was trying to control it. We didn't want
She
that
did a
same. She did a good job.
She did a good job, but it seemed like she cut him off more than she cut him off.
Well,
you know?
here's my worry about the whole thing. I'm a Trump guy also, is the economy was in bad shape before COVID. Whether people know this or not, it was in bad shape. We need someone who can get us out of this financial desperation. The other thing is that we have to think as Americans is there is a good possibility that either one of these presidents will not live through their 4-year term.
That's
so
possible.
Those two vice presidents sitting there
possible.
can become the next president.
Well,
of the
I
United
would
States.
trust Pence better than the other.
You're not a big Pence guy?
No,
he said he would trust Pence more than Kamala?
Miss Harris.
Oh, Miss Harris. Okay, Miss Harris.
You know, this COVID, though, is the worst thing that ever happened. I've been, I stayed in the house for I don't know how long and, stayed away from everybody. And today was the first day, really, where we talked to people. We had a mask on the whole time.
Yeah.
But still, you don't feel right getting on a plane, anything.
Sure.
And when they say it's all Trump's fault, I can't figure that out either. Because if they were real Americans, Biden was, why didn't he come out on CNN TV and say, no, we have to be doing this? Yeah. He didn't have a frickin' clue what he was talking about.
Nobody knows what's
well, I was in the house from about the end of March till the 1st of August, and then I went home. It's a joke, guys.
I got you.
But it's tough. I mean, it's...
I look at the bottom line. Trump said he was going to do about 10 different things or whatever, and he did them.
Yeah,
I agree.
I've never heard of a president ever that ever said they were going to do something and did them all.
One of the stupid things, you guys may have heard it this morning. I'm watching the news early before we leave, and they were talking about Biden, and Harris was talking about it's horrible that they separated the kids from their parents and this and that. And then they were going through clips, and Trump got on and he tried to explain it. He says, well, what people don't realize is that a lot of these kids, these young kids, have been brought over by coyotes from Mexico. And then the next blurb, it's all over the social media. How do they strap the kids to those wild animals?
Get out of here.
That was the news, honest to God. And
why am I not surprised?
They're laughing and say,
wow.
Are you kidding
I'm
me?
pessimistic.
Well, there's a couple big squirrels that they strapped them to too,
And Biden never took money from foreign countries. Well, he did.
My God.
No, he didn't. He got it from his son, who got it from the foreign company.
You know what I found interesting too is I thought that when you're trying to forge peace, a person who is able to help other countries make peace is a good man.
Yeah.
I just saw again now that there's another country recognizing Israel.
Yeah.
And President Trump has been in the middle of these things.
And 5 more
not the act
lined
of a
up.
bad man. What's going on? Unless we want to destabilize the Middle East and we'll have World War III. Does that sound good, folks?
Yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah,
so I thought that how come he gets no credit for things like that? What's your take on that? Or is this just the
How
way
come
the
he gets no credit from any place
It's
except
the
Fox
news,
News?
the news people.
Yeah,
Since
point
we're talking
there.
a little politics, I need you guys to weigh on this. Your friend of mine, Andrew Yang, is pushing for wrestler benefits. Look, I know both of you were part of the class action suit against the WWE.
Right.
Sure.
Where do you guys weigh in on the wrestler not being the independent contractor and should have benefits?
We never liked it when we were there, but the way the organization was set up,
Nature of the beast.
That's it. If you want to work there, that's what you got to do. But it may come to the point where they're going to have to change their operation system.
Will it be because of government intervention? Because I still feel that's the only thing
Well,
that's going to change this.
Yeah, I mean, and that might not be a bad thing.
Can you see that happening? Because to me, there's no other alternative.
Well,
It's just not going to change.
every time there was a hint years ago of a wrestlers union, they've got NFL union, baseball union, basketball union, golfers union, you name it. Why can't the wrestlers? But the thing that killed it was the powers that be put pressure on certain guys and threatened them with their job. But if all the guys stick together, what's the office going to do?
So what would Demolition? Okay, you guys were a top team for many years, probably making top money. I don't know what you guys are making, but let's call it $500,000 a year. All right, might be high, might be low. The Rockers, on the other hand, are making $100,000 a year. You unionize, all of a sudden you're capped out. As tag team champions, you might be only.
You're not necessarily capped out.
Okay. How do you work around it? There's ways to work around those things?
Yeah. Well, I mean, they're selling bukus of merchandise.
If you were in a union, then what rights would you have to merchandising?
You'd have better rights than you got now.
You think? Really?
You know what the rights they got?
No.
If you sell it, say you sell a doll for $30, you get 3 cents.
Really?
The office gets the majority of it. And if a doll doesn't sell, they sell it back, but it comes out of yours. They still keep the doll.
What? Wait,
the doll goes to
if
the
your
warehouse.
doll doesn't sell, you have to pay for that doll not selling?
It comes out of your money, right? Yep. And then the doll, you don't even get the doll goes to the warehouse.
Wow.
That's
okay. Let's
all you have to do is raise the guys. Say you get a standard 5%. The office gets the most. They're taking a risk. It's better than 1/10 of 1%.
This is true.
All I know is I got headaches all the time. I don't sleep at night. Last night I got 3 hours. Night before, 2.5, 3 hours. I'm falling asleep in the car on the way here. I feel like crap in my head.
Memory.
Yeah. Anyway, I don't remember a lot of stuff, but that lawsuit, what that has done, is that has helped out all these new guys right now, because right now they're not getting hit on the head with the chairs, and they're not going through all that stuff.
Sure.
So if anything comes out of all of that, we've helped these people right now, which is fantastic.
Yeah. That is the first time that's ever been spun that way.
That's an excellent point.
That is an excellent
point. And a big thing too, guys.
It's the truth.
You guys know, and the fans know, it's a brutal business.
Sure.
Right? And
Yep.
we chose to be in the business. That's
Sure.
fine.
We say
we're
that
getting
often,
paid. But can't they help out with a little bit of health care?
Well, I'll be honest with you. We get a little bit of heat, right?
That
because,
I agree.
You know,
I wish they would.
We grew up in the WWE, but you know, I'm also in the business world, right? This is my side life or whatever you want to call it.
We're in a constant...
I have an issue with, look, you sign on the dotted line, they offer you this. This is a great country, right? We have the choice to do it or not do it. This isn't somewhere else, right? We're not in a socialist government, right?
Yeah.
No.
So you have this choice.
Not yet.
So I do sometimes have a problem where someone says, oh, you know, you don't know what these guys went to 350 days they traveled away from their family. I get it. But you also decided to take that.
But wait a minute. Before you say that, we didn't decide to have somebody come and frickin' hit you in the head with a chair to tear your head off. Because we got in the business because we're good and it's a work.
Sure.
And if you're an independent,
now all of a sudden it's not a work anymore.
Yeah.
Now is that what you signed up for?
And if you're an independent contractor and you busted your knee out, fortunately we were in a tag team, so we could scoot through it.
Right.
But if you can't and you miss 2 days and the guy says you better show up or you're fired,
that's not what you signed up for. You know, here, let me knock the shit out of your head right now. Here, I'll grab a chair and do that.
Well, how does that even come about? Do they say, oh, listen, by the way, Barry, you're taking chair shots tonight? How is that even communicated, or is it just
Is that
happen?
just before the match starts? This is what's going to happen? This is what's going to go down?
If it's in the finish, that's what
Or they turn around and say, hey, you're taking chair shots, Barry, but guess what? Your take for this event's going to be an extra $4,000.
No, they
never say that.
I don't know.
They don't
so
give
we're
you
not in the
nothing.
business. So
it just says,
there's no incentive
hey, the
pay for
finish
the
is you're going to get hit in the head with a chair, and then you're going to be knocked out, and then they're going to cover
And
you.
who knows the guy that's hitting you in the head with a chair be able to control the chair.
You know, it's not like anybody can hit anybody with a chair and do it
So
correctly.
that leads me another question then, right? So you guys are straight and narrow. You're never getting high. You living a straight life, but then you're working with guys that are high all
Hitting them with chairs.
You know,
High.
there's your
Ask
concern
him.
there.
Yeah.
Ask him about a match we
That
had
ain't
with
too
the
safe.
Brainbusters.
Yeah, tell what happened.
He frickin' knocked me out cold.
Who did Tully?
Tully did.
Was he
and
high?
Cracked some vertebrae in
Just
my
what?
my neck. Knocked me out, and it
Chipped the teeth out.
Yeah, chipped my teeth. And I remember when I woke up, Bill's going, "Come on, get up," or something, just some goofy thing. And I mean, it was brutal.
Yeah.
But that's the one that did me in to where, I used to be able to. I was a math guy big time. I can't remember numbers. I have to really think about my own telephone number. All different things like that has happened.
Hypothetically, knowing what you guys both know now, if you could somehow suddenly be back in your prime and champions right now today, what would you do to change what you've experienced? Would you take the belts and walk into the office and go, you know what? No, this has got to change. It's got to change now. These are the things that got to change. Would you give it the fight that you clearly have done later on?
Well, the
in life?
atmosphere in that particular company hasn't changed any.
So it's the same.
So there's one individual that makes all the decisions. You could get
Linda?
10, you
Just
could
kidding.
get 10 or 15 people.
Had to.
You could get 10 or 15 people on any number of committee that presents and prepares and ready to go. And 2 minutes before the event takes place, it's all scrapped because of one individual. So you'd have to. There's again, you're going to have to be willing to say no and walk out the door.
And walk out
now,
the door.
depends on your position,
Right.
the status on the card. If they're going to let you walk out the door,
Right.
which they may, or say, no, we're going to work this out. And there'll be some changes made. But I don't see anybody in either group, really, the two major groups, that are willing to take that step.
They wouldn't pull it in AEW either. Then they wouldn't try to unionize.
But
either way, it doesn't matter if it's Vince or AEW. They wouldn't attempt a union.
But and
I
the
don't
other
think
the other
so.
thing
Okay.
what a lot of people don't know about when you pick somebody up and slam them, your brain is going like this. And how many times does that happen? And when you're in the business and on the road that many days and working double shots on weekends and all, you don't even
Over
realize.
years.
Yeah, you don't even realize what's happening to you.
Yeah.
And one of the reasons why a lot of the guys have died is they're injured. They take painkillers. Pretty soon they can't sleep, so then they take sleeping pills. Now the pain's too much, so they take more pain pills. Then they take more sleeping pills. And now, usually when you do that for a cycle of 5 days or 6 days. The doctors will give them to you. These guys are on them for years, 2, 3, 4 years.
Right.
And when I first,
all of a sudden, one
them like
day,
candy.
your heart just says, you know what? I'm not hurting no more. I'm just not waking up.
And when I first got in this business years ago in the beginning of my career, nobody told me that you're going to, in 15, 20 years, you're going to have concussions and mental problems and all these things. We were all athletes. You played football, you played hockey, whatever. You're going to get bumps and bruises. You're going to have aches and pains, but not the other stuff, CTE and stuff like that.
Did the generations before you guys even talk about these things or even complain about these things? Headaches and concussions?
I think,
the Luthezes, the Brutos. We never heard too many stories
I think
about
our generation was when all that really started hitting hard.
Right.
Yeah.
When you were first in the business, that's when it all really started.
Yeah.
The guys before you, they never took those big head shots in this.
No.
It was a
When did the
different-
chair shots begin in this business?
Oh, God.
I mean, what are we talking? Because isn't that the biggest reason why these concussions usually happen? Is the
No,
chair
pile drivers,
pile
chair
drivers.
hit
That's right.
turnbuckles,
Yeah, they don't let them do those
Slams,
anymore.
just-
slams on the
bumps.
table, slams outside.
All right.
I mean,
Right.
We're going to get you guys out of here. Pharaoh, final question.
Final question.
I got to say, hey, you guys are doing a heck of a job too.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Thank
What a,
you very
what a
much.
great,
Hey, no matter what they say.
what a great
Wow,
show.
let them talk.
We're better than that guy Hannibal, right?
Who? I already gave him the finger. What else do you want from
Final
me?
question for.
Final question. Okay, so what's down the road for Demolition at this point? What do you guys hope
That's
to
not
do?
the final question.
Why? What?
All
You
right,
have
I'll ask
one?
the final question.
Where's the final question?
Right here.
Next to final
Right
question
there.
then.
Oh, what? It says here I'm supposed to say to you, wrestling nerd here since, not 1999, since like 1979.
No, 1999.
Okay, I'll just read it the way he wants me to. Wrestling Nerd here, 1999 Royal Rumble. You both battle. Who came up with that? Was that nerdy enough? You?
Who came up with that?
Dork.
One of the greatest moments of wrestling.
It wasn't
ever.
1999.
Literally drew the numbers out of a hat.
Really?
Yeah.
They what?
Yeah.
And it just happened to be
and
you
it's
two?
and it's never going to be. It's never ever going to be able to do it again.
We didn't even know it.
That was so
They'll never be able to do it again because people will say, "Oh, that happened years ago."
Right.
And we get that.
1989.
We get that all the time.
First thing I thought of, what the heck am I going to do with him in the ring?
What did you think?
Right, that's
Do I go
What did you
shake?
think with the reaction?
Do I go shake hands with him and go, "Hey, Axe, this is great,"
And I think that
or do
the-
I punch the crap out of him and have him do it back?
I think that what struck the I think the fans probably thought
That was great.
there's going to be some kind of a switch here, turn, but it didn't.
Right.
But we couldn't have stayed. What was the time frame? A minute between?
Yeah, like 2 minutes.
So the
before
way I
the
remember,
next-
I was in the military at the time, so I was in Germany.
Right.
So we used to get the VCR tapes like months after the event, right? Because they'd finally filtered their way to Europe. But when that happened, so the way I remember is you two come in, you face off, you stare at each other, you start beating the crap out of each other.
was so
but
great.
the best
Oh my
moment
God.
is number 3 is Andre.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You guys start to put a whooping on Andre's ass, and it's like, this is the best shit I've ever seen.
But you guys were praying for Andre to come out. You thought,
my
the
God,
show.
yeah.
What was up with that? Why, you just uncomfortable?
I didn't want to keep
We beat each other up.
Oh, he was killing you? Is that what was going on?
Both of us.
Oh, you're killing each other?
Yeah.
Oh, God, dear God.
Anyway,
you
want
didn't hold back at all, huh?
I want to thank the future Hall of Famers.
Fans loved it.
You will be in the Hall of Fame.
Oh, don't get me
The
started.
greatest tag team in the history of professional
Damn
wrestling.
right.
Without a doubt.
Damn right.
And let's not forget about your individual careers, too. So,
Please.
you guys, honestly, Mass Superstar should be.
Dude, can I go home now? This is it. I got Demolition here. I can leave. Goodbye.
I'm going to even go with Super Machine should be in the Hall
What?
of Fame.
Oh,
Be
see,
honest.
and,
go.
and it's funny you say that because
Let's go.
if Demolition doesn't get in the Hall of Fame, Mass Superstar has to be in the Hall of Fame.
Absolutely.
I
Well,
mean, that's-
already in the legit one.
And
What's the cauliflower arc called?
Yeah.
Okay.
Both of us are.
Look, to be honest with you,
Okay.
Mass Superstar, Demolition, and the Russians have to be in the Hall of Fame.
What the?
Period.
Of course.
That's it.
Well, thank you. And we don't have any control over that. There again, it could be in any number of committees.
Can you?
There's going to be one person that makes.
You mean to tell me that this is going to wind up being like us waiting for a Jets Super Bowl? I'm going to have to sit here and wait and wait.
You might.
Vince, you suck.
well, Axe, how much
Sorry.
money is it going to cost for us to even go
It's
to
going to
the?
cost.
What do you think?
They
What do
pay
you
you, don't they?
You know, it's probably what, 80 grand now, 100 grand to get in.
Really now?
Oh yeah.
Wait a minute, you got to pay to get in?
No, that's what they're going to have to pay.
We
us.
can't. We
Yeah, they
can't
gotta
get
pay
in.
you.
We can't get in because we can't afford a ticket to get in.
Oh, dear God.
We have to get extra jobs so we can buy a ticket to get into the.
Wait a minute, I'm sorry,
ceremonies.
I've lost this.
I'm
You have
already-
to pay to get in?
No,
getting
he's just
ill.
kidding you.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
Because, yeah,
stop.
without a doubt. All right, anyway, thank you guys for joining us.
Put 'em in.
What an honor.
Thank you.
I've been
Absolutely.
watching Long Island's #1 pro wrestler broadcast, Monte The
Thank you,
Pharaoh.
guys.
We'll see you right next with Nikita Koloff. Thank you again, guys. Thank you.
Later.